session we have is a takeoff from Ryan. So Ryan just told you all the different ways you can get, more users for your app. But the next session is about how do you actually track and optimize, right? If you're going to be sticking stickers on autos, I'm not sure if you're going to get all the users. Or maybe you will, but you want to track it. So we got Francois here. I'm not going to pronounce his last name. He's got something which is difficult than mine. But just a quick background about Frank. So Frank speaks French, is from Canada, lives in London, but spends 50% of time in Bangalore. So you can speak to him in 6 languages, including Kannada. And he will still speak back to you only in French. So, and English, hopefully, for the presentation, right? So that's Frank. Frank, over to you.
You guys hear me? Cool. Okay, there's a spot over there. There's a spot over there. So I'll be here. Cool. So hi, thanks Ashwin for the introduction. I'm Francois Deschenes. I'm a product manager at InMobi. As you heard, people in the company mostly call me Frank, so you're welcome to call me Frank as well. Very delighted to be in India. I come very often to India, and every time I enjoy my time coming in Bangalore. Today we'll be talking about how to track where your users are coming from in order to optimize your user acquisition campaigns. Okay? So we'll start now. I was supposed to have a quick demo, but we're a bit short on time. So I'll try to explain you why you should be tracking your users and your user acquisition campaigns. We'll go through different technologies to track users on mobile. I'll talk to you about the tracking solution. Oh, sorry, I have the same screen here. Sorry. So I'll talk to you about the InMobi solutions that we have. How do they work? We'll skip the demo, go through a few case studies, and then Q&A. So you've worked for a few months. You finally release your application to the App Store, okay, just to find out that basically the efforts to put in just to get traction in the App Store is almost as high as the effort you put in to build your app in the first place, okay? So you've got all your friends and family, like Ryan explained, to download your application. That's the easy part. And I think in your case, I think extended families in India are quite large, so you get a lot of traction at first. But then you hit that plateau where you need to find different ways of getting your users to download your application. There's different ways to do that, as you can see on the slide, and as Ryan explained, from advertising to cross-promotions to basically more social or more creative ways like guerrilla marketing. Okay? And each of these different techniques will have different investment from your side, both in terms of time and dollars that you need to spend to get those users, right? And basically, you'll try to do different things, different campaigns using different techniques. But how do you know which techniques really works for you and really drive the users for your app? Basically, you'll have to track. Okay, so we'll talk about tracking today. And the real goal here is for you to understand how you can track your user, where your user coming from, so that you can optimize your user acquisition campaigns going forward. Again, it's just a quick summary. So by tracking your users, you'll be able to know where they're coming from, which channels are the most effective for your application. That will allow you to optimize your efforts and budgets towards the nicest or the best channels for you, and you can do that in real time. When you run your different campaigns, you'll be able to optimize your budget and efforts to really what drives the most users in your case. Just to take one simple or one use case so that everybody knows what I'm talking about. Here's a use case where an application called PAT, which is a social network or personal social network, is running an advertisement on the application Words with Friend, the game Words with Friend. So the user will see the game and will start playing with the game. Then we'll see the banner ads from PAT with a very clear click to action or call to action, which is, do you want to download this app? The user will decide to download the app, go to the App Store, download, install, and then launches the app for the first time. So the first time the advertiser or the app developer in this case will know about this new user is when the user downloads the app or launches the app for the first time. And the challenge or what we're talking about here about tracking is we try to link the actual new user in the app to the actual click which happens on Words with Friend. And the problem is that the click happens on one publisher and the actual conversion or download happens on the advertiser, which is a different app. And there's a big app store in the middle which prevents you from passing information in most cases. So how do you link the advertising, the click, to the actual conversion. That's what we're going to talk about. There's different techniques to do that on mobile. It's all through linking variables. How do you need to find a common linking variable between the click and the actual conversion or download. There's 3 technologies that are mainly in use on mobile, and we'll go through them more specifically one by one. The first one is the device IDs, or UDIDs, if you've heard about that. Browser cookies is also used on mobile. And then this last technology I'm going to touch base on is device recognitions or device fingerprinting technology. First one is device IDs. I don't know how many people are actual app developers in this room. I'll try to give some details. But basically, device IDs is an ID that is pretty unique to a device. So if you see the same device IDs in 2 different events, you can basically assume it's the same person that was in 2 different events. And the longest or the oldest form of tracking was through UDIDs on iOS and Android IDs on Android. And basically, by collecting every single IDs at click time, so we build a big banks of everybody who clicks on the banner, and then at download time, we build another bank of all the different IDs of people who downloaded the application, and we cross-reference those 2 lists. We are able to track how many people from the clicks were downloading the application later on. The good thing with device IDs is basically that they have a high accuracy in the sense that if you see one device ID once, you see it a week later, a month later, you're pretty much sure it's the same person. And the fact that it's a standardized way in the sense that if I talk to a publisher or an advertiser and ask them their device IDs of one of their users, they'll be able to tell me exactly what device IDs I'm talking about. The big problem with device IDs is the fact that they're not available on mobile web. So it allows you only to track your conversions coming from other mobile applications. Okay, so that's a big drawback for device IDs. And the second thing is that to have access to those device IDs, you need to be able to integrate with all your different publishers. So in Mobi, we have thousands and thousands of different publishers. We need to make sure that all of these publishers send us the device IDs of all the different clicks they give to advertisers. So it's a big problem to get access to all the device IDs. And the last thing is, last year in September, Apple announced the deprecation of the UDID. And after that, tons of different other IDs came out in the ecosystem, the Odin One, Open UDID, Security ID, etc. And now, this year, with the release of iOS 6, there's a new ID called the IDFA, the ID for advertisers. And basically, all this fragmentation in IDs means that you need to rebuild your publisher's integration every time you want to reuse a new ID. And that's the problem we're facing. I'm going to be very short in terms, so I'm going to be a bit faster. The second technology is cookies, same as on desktops. I'm not going to extend too much on it. The big advantage of cookies over device IDs is that you don't need any of a publisher integration. You can use cookies basically to track across all the different publishers without any integration. You can just place the cookie at click time. You don't really care what happens before. The big problem with cookies to track downloads is the fact that to read cookies from a mobile device, you will need to launch a browser which will be visible to the user. So you are basically affecting the user experience if you want to track using the browser cookies. Last technology I want to talk about is device recognition or device fingerprinting. It's something that is pretty new, came out this year in terms of mobile. It's been released on mobile about this year. It's basically looking at different anonymous points on a browser to be able to identify the device. Okay, we're not looking at any device IDs. It's really different data point, like what is the language of the browser, what is the browser version, what is the IP address, etc. All of these questions individually would not identify the device, but all together, if you can ask 20, 30, 40 questions, you'll be able to identify the device. And then an example I've used to explain the concept is the game Guess Who. I don't know who else played this game when they were younger, but basically this game is the same concept where you ask a bunch of questions to determine what's the character you need to find. Like, is he bald? Does he wear glasses? Is he a guy, etc. And asking many, many different questions will enable you to find that person in the set. But any question individually will not allow you to do that. We found that these technologies to track users or track conversions have better accuracies than cookie, better coverage than what we see with device IDs, because we can now track on mobile web, and it doesn't affect the user experience at all. Okay? And same as cookie, we can integrate with these technologies without having to reintegrate with every one of our publishers. Now, if you want to use all these technologies to track with your application, you don't need to reinvent the wheel. There's many, many different solutions out there that will leverage all those technologies for you to be able to track your app downloads. Okay, so I'm not going to go through all of these. I just want you to know that there's many, many different technologies, many different platforms that leverages those technologies. So you don't need to reinvent the wheel. And now I'm going to jump into our dig a bit deeper in the InMobi solution stacks in terms of tracking. At InMobi, we've been tracking for the last 3 years app downloads for 2 reasons. First, we want to be able to prove our advertisers that whatever campaigns they run on our network, we can deliver the results and the ROI. So we are tracking for the benefits of reporting. We also track to be able to optimize campaigns and provide better results or better return on investments to our advertisers. So we have experience in tracking, and over the summer we launched a new tracking solution called InMobi Ad Tracker, which basically we put independent from our network, so we are able to give away the solution to all app developers in the ecosystem, which will allow them to basically track their conversions on mobile web, apps, any different traffic sources. This is done all in real time without affecting the user experience. And if you need any more convincing, we give it for free to all app developers. Okay, so you can use this technology or this platform to track your conversions of your app. The technology leverage or supports all different, the platform supports all the different technologies we've been talking so far. We are licensing device fingerprinting technology from a company called AdTruth based in San Francisco. And on iOS, we'll basically use device fingerprinting from AdTruth and all the device IDs that we have talked so far. We'll keep using All-in-One and UDID until Apple's remove the access of those IDs or until the supply is depleted on our side. On Android, we also use AdTruth and device IDs. And we also have mobile web and Windows Phone 7 where we do tracking. How does it work? Basically, the user will see an ad or a banner and basically be interested in the product or the application and click on the banner. InMobi Ad Tracker will read a lot of parameters on the application or in the browser and send that to AdTruth. AdTruth will return us a device IDs for that application, and we'll store it in the database. The user will be then taken to the App Store, will download the application, and will launch the application for the first time. And we have an SDK in the application that will do the exact same thing. Read the device, will receive the ID, and then we can match it and track the conversions to a unique source, and then ping back the networks for optimization if optimization has been integrated. I was supposed to show you something at this point, but we'll skip that. Basically, if you want some demo, you can contact me, and I can give you some demos as well, or I'll give it to you in the hall if you need to see it. And I want to show you 2 very quick case studies, and then I'll be done. One case study is an application or a company called Outfit 7. They are the guys, it's a global, I don't know if you know Outfit 7, it's a global app developer studio, basically responsible for all the Talking Friends apps, so Talking Tom, Talking Ginger, Talking, I don't know, there's many Talking. So Talking Ginger is the latest app they have launched, and they've used InMobi Ad Tracker to be able to track their different cross-promotions and affiliate programs. So they're running across different direct publishers. So they're not running advertising on InMobi, they're running on their own publishers. But by doing a very simple SDK integration within their app, they are able, and no integration whatsoever with all their different publishers, they are able to track their conversions across all those different affiliate programs. So that allowed them to really know where their downloads or where their users were coming from and really optimize those campaigns to really spend efforts where it mattered most for them. And the last use case I'm going to show you is this is an InMobi campaign. So basically, this is an advertising campaign. It's not just, sorry. I wanted to show you one InMobi advertising campaign because this use case basically showcased the very powerful optimization that we can do if we couple both the tracking and the ad serving. So in this case, our InMobi Ad Tracker was used in an application, and the actual conversions are tracked to InMobi, but also linked to an actual InMobi impression. And when you know exactly which impressions are converting, you know everything about that impression. You know the user, you know the site, the demographics, you know, everything you know in terms of targeting at the impression level, you can tie it back, and now the optimization will use all these new dimensions to be able to optimize. So we're not only optimizing it by acquisition source. Within one acquisition source, we can chop our inventory in many, many different ways and really optimize across that inventory. Okay, so in this case, if you look at the black line, we see how at the beginning of the campaign, our ad server doesn't know about this application, so doesn't know where the application is converting well. And slowly, as we learn, as the applications start converting, and as we learn where the good inventory segments lie, we'll see the ramping up of the campaign slowly and slowly until we reach the daily spend limit of the campaign. And then if you look at the blue line, you see the cost per download of that campaign going down and down and down until we reach the actual target CPD, which was in this case $1.5. So by combining basically tracking and ad serving, we'll be able to optimize campaigns in a way that will allow us to hit target CPDs, CPAs, whatever. And that's all I had to say for today. Like basically, you should, I mean, once you launch a new application, you'll do different campaigns to track to generate new users. You should think about a tracking technology that will allow you to basically attribute all your conversions, all your new users to all your campaigns and make sure that you are spending your time and money the most efficiently possible. That's it. Thanks, guys.
Thanks a lot, Frank. So we do have time for questions, and there's actually a demo and sort of a hands-on session that Frank will be able to do for those. So let me see who of you are all app developers. Okay, so there's a lot of app developers here. So the original plan was to do hands-on session to actually guide you how to do it. For lack of time, we're going to keep it offline. Please touch base with Frank. He's also going to be handing out these really perky-looking USB drives, which has got the software that you use and some, you know, all the slides and all of it is going to be available. So just contact Frank. But we'll take a few questions now. We'll start with you.
Hi, this is Hemant from Treatle.
Hi.
But I'd split my question into two. What I would like to know is when you're collecting the device ID, are you also collecting the email ID of the person? So that when a user changes devices, can you carry on his information to the next device and continue giving customized, you know, content to him or pushing the relevant ads?
I mean, there's ways to track. The use case I was talking here is really to identify a user between a click and a download. And between the click and the download, there's very little chance that the user will change devices. So the metric in K.
When he comes back the next time.
Yeah.
For another app.
Yeah. So we're not tracking email IDs at this point. There's use cases where we'll probably need to track email IDs. There's a bit of privacy concern around that as well. So we'll need to think a bit more about that.
Guys, before leaving, can you kindly please vote yes or no for how the session was, and was this session really helpful? Thanks.
Hi, Chris. A very insightful presentation, I must say. I'm particularly interested in the third method of anonymous data collection that you spoke about. I want to know about the instrumentation that you have, as well as is there any parallels on the desktop world for the same?
Yeah, there is a parallel on the desktop. In fact, the company we're partnering with is called AdTruth. They're a sister company of a company called 41st Parameter, and they started to do device recognition technology to limit frauds for financial portals on the web. So their technology works even better on the web than it works on mobile, to be fair. And they are able, you know, when you go on your bank statement and you write your bank account and you log in and they ask you a few questions, right? And that's basically the first time you do that, that's that technology running, recognizing the device you are on. You answer the little questions. The next time you come on with the same device, they don't ask you the same question. Then you go, you change country, or you change something with your browser, and then those questions pop back again. That's because that technology was not able to recognize your device again. But yeah, that's technology. This is working for desktop. So anything that can be found on your browser that uniquely will not identify you. So your language setting is one of these points. Your browser version, your OS, whatever that is not going to identify you personally, we will be taking that from the browser. But if you take 50 of these different data points, it's still probabilistic. We'll never be 100% sure we can try you're the same person, but it will be very sure of it.
I'm still not convinced that you can even take 50 anonymous data points and...
If I may suggest, let's take it offline,
Well, yeah,
because
I'll give you a demo. Yeah.
Frank will show you the algorithm.
Slightly. Hey,
Hey.
thanks for the great presentation. Slightly different context, but on the context of tracking.
Yeah.
How do you track bad apps or bad traffic?
How do you track bad apps or bad traffic?
Bad supply for you.
So that's the thing. I mean, if you can track where your conversions are coming from and linking those conversions back to impressions, you are able to identify which publishers or which publishers are not performing well for you. So basically, you'll be able to assign a publisher an exact CP, cost per download value. Okay, so if I know I gave 50 clicks to that publisher at 10 cents, that's, sorry, $5. And maybe that's a good CPD. But maybe the second publisher I gave 1,000 clicks and 0 downloads, I can cut him off from the ad serving from it. So that's the way we do it. It's really by linking. You need to have the feedback loop and the conversion feedback in the ad server.
Frank, any new method or idea to track inactive or deleted customers?
To track, sorry?
Inactive, once the people have downloaded, if they're not using my app or any new or innovative method.
You'll have another session this afternoon on LTV, so basically on user usage of your application after the actual downloads. And what we have come up is basically be able to segment your users in different buckets, and the dormant buckets will be one, and you can start doing retargeting on those guys. So you know exactly who they are. You know you're not using your application anymore. Maybe you should give them a small reminder through a different channel and give them an ad. Hey, you haven't used this application for a while. Click here, we'll give you some free money or whatever, so that you come back in the application and you restart using it. So it's called more retargeting, but it is possible to do, of course.
That's all we have time for now.
Thanks, guys.
Thanks a lot, Frank.
Cheers.
Here's for coming down and helping us out in Bangalore. And you get to pick 3 of the best questions that were asked and hand out these vouchers.
Shit, I forgot all the questions already. I'll just pick the people I remember, sorry. There you go.
Thank you.
Up. Hey, first question here. And I'll give you last question.
Yeah, guys, yet another request. Please do give feedback. That's the only way we know whether the sessions are really valuable for you or not. Lunch is available outside. We'll be regrouping here at 2:30 for the monetization track.
Thank you, everybody.
We'll probably be able to do it. You guys can probably grab lunch, come back in and do it. We have time in this room till 2:30 for that. Okay, thanks.